A video from the Liberty Hound that I just wanted to get to because I just wanted to try to get into more detail on Don Lemon's mental breakdown.
All right, fake news extraordinaire Don Lemon just had the most incredible meltdown that I've seen from a mainstream anchor in a long time. I'm talking stage 3 TDS here at minimum. And this happened Saturday night during CNN's special coverage before the White House Correspondents' Dinner. So we got Allison Camerado and Mr. Lemon interviewing former White House aide Cliff Sims. And something was up with Lemonhead that night. I don't know what, but he just erupted on Cliff. So take a look and then we'll discuss.
I think that the reason people struggle with this is because the president's rhetoric doesn't always match his policy, and
It kind of does. I don't really see any contradictions in his policy and his rhetoric. I never see his policy and rhetoric really contradict.
doesn't always match the direction, the action that the White House takes, and so it's confounding.
What he says, and then he can change his mind sometimes, and he changes stuff sometimes, but most of the time it just matches. You may be talking about stuff that other people put in place and what other people say, but Trump is usually pretty consistent.
People, when they hear the president say things like, well, there were good people on both sides, and just now, when the president...
Okay, you know what? Why not? Let's go look at there were very fine people on both sides, quote, because what he said was factual. There were good people on both sides. And then he wasn't endorsing white supremacy at all. Let's look at the full quote.
Putting what you're calling the alt-left and white supremacists on the same moral plane.
I'm not putting anybody on a moral plane. What I'm saying is this. You had a group on one side and you had a group on the other, and they came at each other with clubs, and it was vicious, and it was horrible, and it was a horrible thing to watch.
Exactly. It wasn't just one side who attacked. The two sides attacked each other, and it was extremely wrong. There were peaceful people on both sides, but then there were also... Okay. There were also very bad people on both sides. I'm sorry, Antifa, they aren't a peaceful organization. They beat up anyone who disagrees with them. They are a fascist organization that are just as bad as white supremacists. They're horrible people, okay? And they were wearing masks and they were attacking people. And then in the two sides, the white supremacists and Antifa fighting each other. I'm sorry, Antifa is not any better than white supremacists. Well, someone got killed in the cross, and it was a horrible sight to see. And this isn't right people are evil. I'm sorry. Just because you disagree with someone doesn't mean they're evil.
But there is another side. There was a group on this side, you can call them the left, you've just called them the left, that came violently attacking the other group. So you can say what you want, but that's the way it is.
It's on both sides, sir. You said there was hatred, there was violence on both sides.
Well, I do think there's blame. Yes, I think there's blame on both sides. You look at both sides. I think
to say that there's no violence and hatred on the left is just ignorant, and you're either ignorant or you're lying to yourself. Okay.
There's blame on both sides, and I have no doubt about it, and you don't have any doubt about it either. And if you reported it accurately, you would say.
Neo-Nazis started this. They showed up in Charlottesville to protest.
Excuse me, they didn't put themselves down as you. And you had some very bad people in that group. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, excuse me, I saw the same pictures as you did. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name.
See? He said there were horrible people on the right, yes, but there was some very fine people on the right on both sides. So, yes, he was talking about the very fine people on the right, but when he said on both sides, he included the left in there because there were also fine people on the left. So yes, there were fine people on both sides. People on the right who weren't white supremacists, who just cared about the history.
George Washington was a slave owner. Was George Washington a slave owner? So will George Washington now lose his status? Are we going to take down, excuse me, are we going to take down statues to George Washington? How about Thomas Jefferson? What do you think of Thomas Jefferson? You like him?
I do.
Okay, good. Are we going to take down the statue? Because he was a major slave owner. Now we're going to take down his statue. So you know what? It's fine. You're changing history, you're changing culture, and you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But
Neo-Nazis and white nationalists should be condemned totally. There you go. He said it right there.
you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists.
That's all he's saying. There were people who weren't neo-Nazis and white nationalists. And then about Robert E. Lee, hold on. Now, it's recording, right? Yeah, okay. Now, I showed you all that at this point because it gets really important later on.
That the White House takes. And so it's confounding for people when they hear the president say things like, well, there were good people on both sides. And just now, when the president spoke, he said all.
So there's people on the right who aren't racist, and there's people on the left who aren't evil. It's a hateful term, apparently. And condemning white nationalism and white supremacy means nothing, apparently.
The right things. He said we stand with the Jewish community. He said we have to forcibly condemn anti-Semitism. It must be defeated. Those are all wonderful words. And then he quickly pivots to there's a lot of things we need to be looking at into in this country, which everyone knows is code for him feeling as though what he's just endured is a hoax, et cetera, about the Mueller.
Well, it was a hoax, as we kind of proved. Why are you still holding on to that? There was no Russian collusion.
Report. And so it's just hard to reconcile sometimes his words with what you're talking about in terms of the policies.
Oh. So, condemning white nationalism, saying there's good people on both sides and bad people on both sides, and we need to be against hate and violence and anti-Semitism, and apparently that's counterintuitive to what exactly?
Well, I think we are at a moment here, Allison, where all of us as Americans are watching the same movie, and yet somehow we're seeing dramatically different things play out on the screen. Even well-meaning people. I mean, I don't know Don, but when I hear Don talk about the way he felt about Charlottesville and what the president said, it's diametrically opposed to what a lot of people, I would say myself included, watched happen. I mean, the president did condemn white.
Wow. Right away. You disagree with him and you're delusional. Really? So, it's delusional. What about that video where he condemned white supremacism? What about that video where he said that there are good people on both sides, and I'm not talking about the white nationalists and neo-Nazis because they should be condemned. What about that part? We imagined it, yet somehow a video got it. Okay.
Then you're delusional, Cliff. Then you are delusional.
And he's repeating it, talking over what the man's saying, not letting him finish.
That's not what a lot of people say.
That is what a lot of people say.
I'm from Alabama, and so this is...
So, again, disagreeing with Don Lemon means you're delusional. And no, people don't see that apparently. Apparently only a small minority see that very hard to find and hidden video. That's not hard to find and not hidden.
Here's what you're saying.
I feel like we have had
because
for
the president
years and years.
says words that are hollow. Because the president said,
because the president says words that are... How many words... How can you come out and just say it's hollow? How do you know 100% certain that it's hollow? I'd like to know how you know. And secondly, I'd like to know, I don't know, why, again, how many things have you said that's just hollow? Why don't you say anything about that? No, you're just a hypocrite.
I couldn't hear anything you just said.
Hold on. So, he says we should come together and you still attack him for it?
Let me finish. Insisted on talking over.
What do you mean, let you finish? He was in the middle of talking. You didn't let him speak. It's his turn to talk.
So I really don't know what you're saying.
If you stop talking, then we won't be talking over each other.
If you stop talking, then you won't be talking over each other. This man was talking, and you were interrupting him. I'm sorry. Having a conversation isn't you getting pissy at what someone's saying, talking over them, and then commanding everyone else that they should listen to you.
I will let you respond.
Well, you want to
No, you won't.
You asked me to come on your program, so give me a chance to talk.
The president's words don't matter. If I sit here in
He never said that. Clearly never said that.
Office with a bunch of ladies.
Saying, Don, I literally just said that the president should step up and lead on issues of racial reconciliation. I literally just said that.
You're talking about words and policies.
Okay. His words and policies do match. Just saying. I don't know what your issue is. He never said that the words don't matter.
Okay, so if I sat here, this is what
you just said. I said the president's words shouldn't matter. I didn't say.
He didn't say that.
Let me get it out, and then you can respond.
Because what you're saying is not.
You let him get it out. He hasn't had a chance to get what he's trying to say out because you interrupted him. I'm sorry, he didn't interrupt you. You interrupted him, and you started speaking over him, and then you command him to be silent and listen to you because I guess you're black and gay, and he's white. I don't know, but you're obviously like on some sort of pissy mood right now. How do you not? You literally just spoke over him, and then you're lying about what he said, claiming he said something he didn't.
True, Don.
Okay, you're not listening. How do you know? You don't know what it's not. You don't know if it's not true. If you.
Yeah. I'm sorry. You said that he claimed that the words don't matter. Okay. And then, well, that isn't true. I'm sure he knows what he said.
Don't hear me out.
Because you just said that I said the
hear you out.
President's words don't matter, and I did not say that.
Okay. So you're saying the president said something right, but his policies are better, so we shouldn't call him a racist or that panel.
That's not what he's saying either. He said something. And what do you mean? He said something right. He said something correct, but we shouldn't judge him on what he said that's correct. What?
Shouldn't call him an anti-Semite or
You shouldn't call him a racist or an anti-Semite because he said something correctly? What? Because the only other term you could use for right is right-wing. And are you claiming everyone that's a right-wing is an anti-Semite racist? God damn it, no, you shouldn't be calling him an anti-Semite or racist because he's not an anti-Semite or racist and hasn't said anything anti-Semite or racist. So, that's why.
And call him a white supremacist. Okay.
He's not a white supremacist.
So, I said
you give me an example of the president being a white supremacist.
Let me ask the question and then you...
Don, give an example of him being a white supremacist. He asked for one. And, again, you interrupted him. He didn't interrupt you. You interrupted him. So you're getting in a hissy fit for him talking when you originally interrupted him. God damn.
Respond, please. Okay. So you say
Will you let me respond, please? He does not seem like a professional journalist at all.
It doesn't matter. That's my interpretation. Or that the president's policies should speak rather than his rhetoric. Okay, so if I sit here on this panel and I tell these women that I want to grab them by the you-know-what, but I am a supporter of women and women's rights and I stand up for you, how does that... So, then...
Okay, so... saying I want to have sex, but I support women's rights. I want to touch pussy, but I support women's rights. A girl goes, I want to suck dick, but I support men's rights. I don't see how that's contradictory. At all, really. I guess you're not allowed to want to touch women. I guess if you want to touch women, you're a sexist rapist. You're not allowed to want to touch women. You're not allowed to want to do anything. You must be a mindless drone that doesn't want anything.
What should I believe? Should I be able to do that? Do my words matter more? Do my actions matter more? All of it.
I think
all of it.
Both of them matter, but you know the saying, action speaks louder than words? There's a reason for that, because it's true. And it's mostly, you can have someone say, I am a good person, but have them beat up people and be a bully. Well, that's what actions speak louder than words. Both do matter, but actions is kind of more important.
Is encompassing upon me. So you cannot say that the president's words don't matter and we should judge him on his policies.
He's saying both matter, and he's not disagreeing at all.
Other than his words, because all of it matters.
Well, fortunately, that's not what I said, Don.
That is exactly what you said. You said the president's policy. You talked about his policies. You talked about his policies. You said his policies are what matters.
I said that his words and his policies matter, Don. I said the president should step up and lead on the issue of race, that I don't feel like he's done a great job in that, but I also think he gets unfairly criticized at times, and you take it a step too far. You couldn't name a single example of the president being a white supremacist, and yet you
I never called the president a white supremacist. I never called a white...
You literally just did in this video.
I never called the president a white supremacist. So if you're watching the wrong program or you're not hearing what I'm saying, what I have called the president is...
You're not hearing what he's saying. Look at here. This is exactly what I mean about projection. This is them projecting. 1, 2. Awesome.
Racist. When you call nations shithole countries, when you call African American players sons of bitches...
I'd like to know, how the hell is calling a shithole country racist? Calling a shithole country is just facts. I'm sorry, some places are just shithole countries. They're not good places to leave. There's a reason why they're trying to flee there. There's a reason why they need support. There is such a thing called shithole countries. I'm sorry, you didn't even specify. You just said calling a country a shithole country in general is racist. It's not. Like, calling a country a shithole country for the sole purpose that its majority is a race you don't like, well, that's racist, but that's not what Don Lemon said. He said calling a shithole country, just because it's a shithole country, is racist. And the other point, sons of bitches, the son of a bitch is now a racial slur? What? I'm calling an African American son of a bitch is apparently a racial slur. What if you call a white person a son of a bitch? Is that a racial slur? Or a Mexican, or an Asian? Is it only African Americans? What the hell? Apparently, I guess you're not allowed to criticize black people ever.
And you say that there are fine people on both sides.
There are fine people on both sides. I'm sorry, just because they disagree with you doesn't mean they're evil.
When you lie about it afterwards...
What do you mean, lie about it? You're the one lying about it.
That is when you're actually when you
Well, let's talk-
when you
Why don't we
redline
talk
black
real
people
quick, Don? I
from
actually
housing,
think-
when you
let's
say
talk
that
about the-
when you say
let's
that
talk
the
about
Central
the fine
Park
people
Five
on
should
both
go
sides.
to jail,
Why don't we just take
that
a
is
specific example?
evidence of racist
Don,
behavior.
I'm not going to sit here and just let you.
That isn't racist behavior at all. Okay, let's talk about a specific example, and he won't.
Just yell at me. I mean, if you want to interview me, I'm happy to talk to you. But if you're just going to sit here and
trying to
rant,
interview you,
do
but
that
you're
with or
talking
without
over
me.
me.
Why don't let's talk
You're not trying to interview him. Anytime he talks, you talk over him.
about something very specific. Let's talk about the fine people on both sides, because I think this is an important conversation to have. So I think if you think the president is a racist, you hear that and you hear the president saying there are fine white supremacists and there are fine anti-white supremacists. Now, I'm from Alabama, so I've been a part of this kind of the argument over the monument. Hear the president saying there are fine white supremacists and there are fine anti-white supremacists. Now, I'm from Alabama, so I've been a part of this kind of the argument over the monument.
Okay, hold on.
Hear the
Pause this for a little bit. Let us. Okay, recording. Yeah, let's hope this is long enough.
President saying there are fine white supremacists and there are fine anti-white supremacists. Now, I'm from Alabama, so I've been a part of this kind of the argument over the monument.
Okay, what the fuck? Hold on.
Hear the president
Hold on. Okay, this should give me better signal.
saying there are fine white supremacists and there are fine anti-white supremacists. Now, I'm from Alabama, so I've been a part of this kind of the argument over the monuments and things like that for years and years. I've seen this play out here in our state.
And I'm from Louisiana, by the way, so I've seen it play out.
See, there he is again, interrupting him. Don Lemon, let the man speak. You just let the man speak. Ugh.
And you think that he is not a racist. When you hear him say that, what you hear him say is, you know what? There are good people who think we need to get rid of these statues because they are monuments to slavery. They are monuments to white.
That is what he said, but you won't admit the other side. First of all, that's exactly what Trump said. And all he's saying is, he's not saying what did Trump say. What he's saying is, if you view Trump as a racist, you see this. If you don't view Trump as a racist, you see that. And you're just over here so much of a hissy fit. You're saying, that's not at all what he said. You're delusional. How dare you disagree with me? That's all he's going to do here. He's saying, that's not what he said. But clearly, what we saw earlier on in this video I've been recording, Trump's actual quote was, yeah, he did say that. He is saying what this man is describing. There are good people who want to take down the statues, and then there's good people who want to keep the statues. And he's not, when he said there's good people on both sides, he's not, I'm not talking about the white supremacists or the neo-Nazis, because they should be condemned fully. He said it himself. He's not talking about those people. Well, if he's not talking about those people, then who the hell is he talking about? Don? Trump said he's not talking about those people. Who the hell is he talking about, Don?
That's not
and there
what
are
he
also
said.
good people on the other
That's
side.
not what he said.
Who don't.
You're literally talking over him, not letting him make his points, not letting people hear his point. Talking over him. It's like, no, you can't. I'm not listening. And it is what Trump said, by the way.
Want to get rid of those because they feel
That's not
like
what happened.
this is our history. Even if it's an ugly
That's
part of
not
his history, then we should preserve these.
He said.
But Don, if you read the entire transcript, he was very
I read the
clear in
entire
saying
transcript.
that he condemned white supremacy.
Well, you read the entire transcript. He said he's not talking about the white supremacists and neo-Nazis. Who is he talking about then? If he's not talking about the white supremacists and neo-Nazis, and he's not talking about the non-white supremacists and non-neo-Nazis, who the hell is he talking about? Aliens?
Pull it up. Then
I
then
read
you're
the entire
lying to your
transcript.
audience, Don, because
I read
he said
the entire
that.
transcript.
I'm
And I
trying to
also
explain
know-
to you something bigger here.
Him talk. He said, pull it up. And you're going, I read it. I brought it. Pull it up, show your audience. I brought it. I brought it. Why are you talking?
Don, that we're at a moment in American history where, again, we are watching the same movie on television and we're seeing dramatically different things. I don't think that you're insincere. I think you truly believe that. And I'm just telling you that there is a wide swath of this country.
Don Lemon the delusional boy is calling people who disagree with him delusional. We saw the video ourselves. We know what Trump said. Clearly, Don Lemon is delusional, and he's just trying to protect on others, going, "You're delusional."
Heard something dramatically different in that moment. And frankly, I don't think it's good for the country that we're sitting here relitigating this over and over and over again. All this does is stoke division. I came on here to talk about the White House Correspondents' Dinner and whatever else you want.
What do you mean? What do you mean it doesn't fit our narrative? You're the one with the narrative. It doesn't fit your narrative, so you have to lie about what he said.
And we're just going to relitigate this over and over. And you are contributing to this moment in history where we extraordinarily divided. And I don't think
I'm not the person who said that there were fine people on both sides.
So saying that there were fine people on both sides and that we should unite and not be hateful is division?
I'm not the person who said there were fine people on both sides. I'm not the person who called countries shithole countries.
Saying facts are is division, apparently.
I'm not the person who called people sons of bitches.
You actually don't even know if you said that.
No, you don't call people sons of bitches. You just call people you disagree with racist, sexist, homophobic, all the icks and ists.
Because that's another one of those. It was based off of anonymous sources, and people in the room say that blah blah blah. You actually don't know if he said that.
Okay, yeah, yes, I do know. I do know that he said that.
Okay. Do you have an actual source that's not anonymous, that's based in facts, or are you just going? I trust these anonymous sources, but I don't trust all non-anonymous sources. I just don't trust the ones that support my narrative.
And it's not blah, blah, blah.
It is blah, blah, blah.
And the fact that you have this attitude that you have about this, and that you say that I am somehow contributing to have a conversation.
You are somehow contributing because you're lying, you're calling people you disagree with racist, hateful, and all this other stuff. You're just spreading hate, and you're calling the other side evil. No, you're not unbiased. No, you're not central. You're left-leaning, and you call everyone you disagree with evil.
To actually tell the truth, to actually call people on...
What truth? You haven't said a single truthful thing here.
We're having
to hold them accountable for their words and their actions.
Okay, so can we hold you accountable for your words and your actions? No, because you're gay and black, right?
Listen, I'm still talking, and you're talking over me. You can't have...
You've been talking over him all the time, and you're so triggered right now. How dare I talk over you, okay? You're wrong for me talking over you.
Conversation that way. You have to listen. So I sat here and I let...
You need to listen. And I'm not gonna respond to what he says here because first off, he didn't sit here and let him talk. He didn't sit here and listen. He interrupted him numerous times, and he lets him know that.
You say what you had to say, and now it's my turn to say what I have to say.
Actually, no, you didn't. You interrupted me like 1,000 times.
No, I haven't. We haven't been on air long enough to do it 1,000 times.
Such a childish response. No, you're lying. Okay, it's impossible. I would have done it 1,000 times. I just did it a few hundred.
So, give me any more questions you got. I'm happy to answer them. Lay them on me.
Yeah. Well, listen, I would love to continue with you, but I'm going to get to something that is better and someone who actually tried to bring this country together. And that.
You mean the guy who divided the country even more?
Is the former president of the United States, Barack Obama, who is speaking about Mandela, and he is at the African American Museum here in.
Okay. Well, first of all, again, you like Obama, so he's perfect and amazing. But everyone you disagree with is evil.
Washington, we will listen in.
No, we won't. Bye-bye. Wow, I told you guys, didn't I? We just saw a professional, highly compensated news anchor doing, I don't know what exactly, but something other than news. I mean, that was just embarrassing, you know, and I watch a lot of news. I've seen a lot of anchors get carried away during heated debates, but this was weird. This was unprompted, and, you know, usually the meltdowns are a defensive reaction to a crazy guest, but in this case, it was all Lemon, and you could tell at the beginning he had that crazy, angry look in his eyes like he was about to pounce. And then, of course, the first words out of his mouth were, "You're delusional." And then it was all downhill from there. What's really strange about this is that Cliff is not a Trump surrogate or a sycophant, not anymore at least. Earlier this year, he published a tell-all book, which he called Team of Vipers. And in that book, he basically documented his time in the White House and included, a number of unsavory details about Trump and his staff. So obviously he had to leave the White House after publishing that, or if you ask them, they'll say they fired him. But either way, the point is he's not really on Team Trump, and if anything, you'd think Don would want to be welcoming to him and, try to get some dirt out of him while he's got him there, at least to fill the time. But no, he just went off on him over nothing. All he said was that Don's take on Charlottesville was different from his, which he's allowed to do, and he was respectful about it. Don clearly drew first blood here. Cliff wasn't adversarial at all, and I don't even know Cliff. I don't recall seeing him prior to this interview, so I don't feel any obligation to defend him. I'm just calling it like I see it. So something must have been going on with Don that night. I mean, don't judge me now, but I do watch his show and Chris Cuomo's show almost every day. I mean, I don't watch it live. I record it and then I skim through it, and sometimes I find material that I want to feature on the channel. But I'm mentioning this only to point out that Don is not usually so unhinged during his interviews, and specifically with Trump surrogates I'm talking about. He is usually professional in the sense that he'll at least let them speak. And of course he gets his counterpoints in, but again, it's within the bounds of professional corporate media standards. And this obviously wasn't. And I'm surprised it hasn't gotten more attention, honestly. I'm guessing it's just because this was the White House Correspondents' Dinner pre-show special or whatever, which is really boring. So I'm guessing no one was watching it. I mean, I only saw it because a subscriber sent me the link. Otherwise, I wasn't watching CNN on Saturday night. I do take the weekends off from fake news, that's my time to relax. Anyway, I just realized that I actually defended Don Lemon a moment ago, kind of. So yeah, that means it's time for me to go, I think. So yeah, Trump derangement is real, guys. It's real, and it's glorious.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.